Hello and welcome back to the channel. Another week has passed and here at our farmhouse we have faced some exciting challenges. This week we tackled varnishing our cupboards for the first time, built a new windowsill in the kitchen and planting bare root trees, all while getting ready for Christmas. It's been a busy, rewarding week, so join us as we take you along on this week's journey.
Alright, back to the doors. Managed to fix most of the fish eyes and everything. Got a few tiny little leaks, what do you call it, drips, but just gonna leave those in place. I don't think anybody will really see it once it's all put together. But now it's time to put some varnish so that hopefully we can clean the kitchen interior in the future without removing the paint. And I really hope the consistency is liquid enough so I don't have to try and thin out the varnish, because I don't know if you can do that. This one is supposed to be water-based. Why is it white? Alright, quick googling, and apparently colorless varnish is actually quite white and is supposed to dry clear. That's so funny, it's so white. I would just think it's white paint. And the thickness kind of looks a little too thick, but what's the worst that can happen? It's very thick. Oh jeez. Oh great. Chunky. Great. Okay, so apparently it's the exact same thing as with the water-based paint. You can thin it with water, but they don't recommend doing more than 10%. No, this does not fit. Does it fit in here? Yes. A lot smoother. Hopefully I didn't overdo it again, like with the paint. I think I got a tiny bit too thin with the paint. And that's why I got the drips, or leaks, or whatever you call it. Okay, let's start. Oh Lord, let's hope. Okay. Could be a lot more even, but we'll go with it, see what happens. That went on. I just hope it goes clear like it says it should. And you guys, I'm gonna leave you here on hyperlapse and you can tell me if it actually turns clear. Four hours later, still not drying and still quite white where it's thicker. Thank God my battery ran out and you guys didn't have to watch it not dry for hours. Well, I guess guess tomorrow when I wake up I'll see how horrible this looks, and hopefully it dries. Alright, the next day. It all dried. The white is completely gone. It definitely dries very clear. And they all turned out pretty great. I did end up having to put a heater in here so it could dry properly. It's a little bit too cold to dry. So now it's time to start with the next set of doors and drawers and all the rest of the interior.
The first set of cupboard doors are finally ready, so it's time to move on to the next batch. Gisli began by disassembling all the cupboards, carefully removing the handles and hinges to treat them separately. Then came the task of hanging the doors, making sure to space them out properly so they don't touch each other and to allow for easier movement in between. With the lessons learned from the first batch, Gisli prepped the doors in advance by sanding them down and rubbing them with alcohol to remove any oil stains, ensuring a smoother finish this time. Next step was the paint. One by one, each door received its first coat of green, carefully applied to ensure an even coverage. And while everything seems to be going smoothly and in the right direction, something just doesn't feel right.
Alright, so even with a lot more prep work, more sanding, more alcohol, it's going quite shit. Paint too thin, going on too thick. Oh, this is horrible. Oh well. Let's hope I can somehow fix these as well as the other ones got fixed. Alright, back in the paint department, where it has become perfectly clear to me that someone needs to be fired. Every single one looks like hot garbage. I don't know why the first ones turned out decent, and I'm not really sure why these second ones look this horrible. But I'm gonna sand each and every one again, lightly. We bought some more paint so I can maybe thicken up the mixture, because I mixed some water in there, a little too much maybe. So bought a new one. Kind of thicken it out again. Maybe I didn't let the alcohol evaporate for long enough. So yeah, that's the plan now. Sand it all, clean it again, wait for a while longer, and use thicker paint. And hopefully this horrific mess will be fixed. Alright, it's already looking a lot more promising. I don't see any paint getting pushed away from any areas, at least not yet. It was quite clear the first time I painted. Gotta really hope this coat is enough and that it's even, and I can just put a varnish over it in a couple of days. Alright, it's been 1.5 hours. Here's the doors that are finished. It's time to see how the painting went. Oh, thank God. Okay, I mean, little things I didn't sand well enough, but it seems that the paint has pretty much all stayed in place and not wanted to go. Little drip there. Oh well, here we're getting to a little worse. Oh, it's not completely dried, but it's not looking very nice. Not completely dry, it might be fine. Still not dry. 100 times better than it was. Some are gonna need some attention. At least this one that looked absolutely horrific before is quite good now. Oof, perfect. Gonna let it dry completely. Check on it again.
Then it was time for the varnish. This time, the white color of the varnish wasn't as intimidating as the first go around. Slowly but steadily, Gisli is mastering his varnishing skills.
Alright, came out well. Now we'll see how it dries. And then we can start doing some bigger things.
Once all the coats were applied, it was time to take down the finished batch and carefully bring in the big pieces of our future kitchen. Meanwhile, the Christmas spirit is alive and well despite the warm weather, and it was finally time to put up the Christmas tree. Since it's our first time spending Christmas in France as a family, this was especially exciting for all of us. So today we're going to be planting this pear tree. It came like this, bare root. Gonna have to water it a little bit before we put it down in the ground. And some raspberries, also bare root. The thing with bare roots, they are apparently, at least here in France, they are much cheaper than if you buy it in their pots. Unfortunately with these we had to wait quite long, so long as 1 month. I had to actually contact the company and ask like, what is happening? Are they ever coming? And they said that they were waiting for these plants to go into dormancy properly in order to send them to us, which was very thoughtful of them, but I had no idea, of course. So it came like this, a whole package. So you just have to untie them. Should have brought some scissors with me. Why did I think this was gonna be easy? Teeth? Are you allowed to use teeth? Come on, you can do it. So basically, what you need to do is to soak them a little bit in a bucket of water in order to moisturize these roots. You leave them like that for a certain time, I'd say a few hours. There you go. Yay. Okay, here's some bare root raspberries. We're gonna put them in some water, soak them a little bit in there before we start planting them. But life got in the way, and the planting of the tree didn't happen within few hours. So the next day became the day to get it into the soil. Of course, our little helpers were there to assist throughout the entire process. Next, it was time for the nettle tea. This simple tea is made with just nettles and water, and it's been brewing outside for the past 2 months. Nettle tea is rich in nitrogen, which is essential for plant growth, especially for leafy greens. It's also packed with other nutrients like potassium, iron, and trace minerals, making it incredibly nutritious for my plants. Once a week, I dilute it at 1:10 ratio with water and feed it to my leafy greens, and they absolutely thrive on it. I used this method in Sweden, and I was so excited to see that part of our land is naturally covered in nettles here too. That means endless free nutrition for our plants. Our donkeys have been a little mischievous lately, exploring many parts of the garden and even reaching our raspberry plants, much to their delight. To keep them away from the area while still keeping them happy, we got a hay bale from our neighbor. So now they have their own treat and our precious plants are safe. But let's go back to Gisli and see what he's been up to.
I need to make the window sill on the outside of the new window. And I made this little mold to be able to make the windowsill. I just try to copy what's already on the house. So hopefully I just have to bolt this to the wall, fill it up with concrete, and hopefully it comes off and will be just like that one. The little triangle here is so that when the water is gonna run down the windowsill, it won't go with the bottom and then into the wall. It will come to here and drop down. You can't make the wall wet, just like these ones. It's a little triangle groove all the way. And this one I definitely do not want to forget to oil. Alright, it's time to mix up the cement. Begin with making it damp so the concrete will stick properly. And then we hope that this will hold well enough. So maybe it's easiest to pour it in. Trying to do it at an angle so the water wants to run off away from the woods. I think I'm gonna wait a few minutes until it starts setting a little bit. And then I'll try smoothing it out. Just came to check on it before I flatten it out a little more. But it looks like one of the cats has stepped in it. Kinda think I'm gonna keep it. Maybe I'll just try and flatten around it. Just tried flattening it with a sponge. And kept these. Don't dare to touch it too much. I think it's gonna be nice. Alright, the day after. Time to check how it came out. Hopefully it's decent. The paw prints look pretty decent. I guess the cat really stepped in it at the correct moment. It was so dumb. Guess I should have waited longer, but what's done is done. Oh yeah. Completely forgot to think about this, that I had made this beautiful groove for the water to drop down. So would I have to remove this straight down instead of pulling off all the concrete. Alright. Well, time to cry about it. Just have to figure out how I'm gonna fix it. Oh, came out very nice here right on the end. Sometimes it's very good to think properly before you execute. Oh well, I guess it wasn't nice here either. A tiny little nice part here. Boop. Alright, I guess you can see where I'm going with this. Just gonna mix up some more concrete. Fill this up again. And then take it off carefully. Maybe wait a couple of days instead of 20 hours.
While Gisli fills the gap left by the little window, we can see our house slowly coming together, getting ready for us to live in. There's still a long way to go, but we can already dream about how it will look when it's finished. If you want to see the journey and how it all turns out, stick around and we'll see you next Friday.